Okay, ready or not, we're going to get these stories started. Are we ready? I think we're ready. Rachel's here. Steven's here. Kat, once again, so happy you're here. There was a woman, Nancy, is it? Nancy! Nancy, I met her about a month ago-ish on the trail, and she had these really cool, like bike, I think they're like horns. Oh, they're over here. We're gonna have to bring them in a minute for display. They're bike horns, and I realized I'm like kind of like a dog now when I see a bike. It's like when I see another dog, I just want to say hi to them, and I just want to know their story. And so I'm so excited to see her. This is her first bike story night. How many of you have been to bike story night for the first time tonight? Yay! Yay! I feel like it usually is about half. How many of you have been to 3 bike story nights? Okay, awesome. Well, my name's Valerie. In case you didn't know already, I am the founder and creator of Bike Story Night. This was a passion project that I started during the pandemic, when I was starting to feel really low and sad, and I thankfully just got in touch with myself, which I think I hadn't done in too long. And I realized, what do I really want to do in the future? And I think a lot of people kind of did that, and they started just scheming up things. And I realized that there are 3 things that I really love. I love bringing people together. I love bikes, and I have loved photography for a long time. I was a photographer in high school and then throughout my life. And then somebody that I was dating gave me a bike a couple, we won't talk about how long ago that was, but and then a couple that I met, again, going back to, I just went up to talk to them because I was already enamored with bikes, and I just, we started talking, we became friends, and then 2 weeks later they said, you can have our bikes, we're actually not here. I'm from the Rio Grande Valley, and they were just passing through. They were going to Mexico from Wisconsin or something, and they said, we really don't want to take these bikes with us, we're just going to be traveling, so if you want them, you can have them. And then it was sealed, the deal, like the bike life had chosen me, and my instinct was just like, I want to get people together and ride with these bikes. And all I had known was roadies, really. There wasn't like social riding in my small town in the Rio Grande Valley, and just my gut instinct was like, create a flyer, go to your bike shop, and try to start a group ride, and it was like, couldn't be called the slow rollers. It's very flat. I was, just thinking it's going to happen. It didn't happen. No one showed up. I tried it one more time. No one showed up. And then I moved to Austin a few years after that, and I found out that there's group rides, and group rides are a thing. I remember the first time I saw Critical Mass, I was just out of my mind, like I wanted to jump out of the car and, just start running with the bikes or something. But bikes make me really happy. And so during the pandemic, I was like, I'd been doing events and organizing for nonprofits, and it was just in my wheelhouse. And so I felt like I want to have an event that is my own event, and it's, my thing, and we'll see what happens. Thankfully, I had a few friends who validated me, and then I had a bike shop that said yes to hosting me, and that was in 2021, and we are now 26 events deep with this event. I think it's going to happen. And I love it, and I really love all of the people and the stories that I've heard, and I love seeing people get inspired to share their stories or think more deeply, about bike life, and encouraging them to ride, and then they get inspired to ride. They inspire their friends to ride, and it's just such a fun place to be, and I'm so honored to be here doing this thing. So I can't thank you all enough. I can't do it without you. I can't do it without my volunteers. I told myself that I would wrangle them up here and get a photo. So could we please get all the volunteers up here real quick? Even if you're a former volunteer, please come up here, because this is like a thing, okay? We cannot do it without this crew. Get up here, get up here. Come on. Do-do-do-do-do. I wish I knew the Price is Right tune, but I can't get it. I'm glad you guys all came again, and it looks like you all are enjoying some tasty beverages, which I love, because everything's more fun with a tasty beverage and a taco, of course. So get ready for some stories. But first, I want to introduce you to the owners and creators of Switchback and Crux, who are here tonight, and they're going to tell you a little bit about this fine establishment. So clap as loud as you can, okay? Grace and Ethan, let's go. Grace.
Thank you for that lovely introduction. I'm Grace, and
I'm Ethan.
we are the owners of Switchback Coffee and Beer, and I'm also part of Crux. We're so excited to host this tonight. It's something that I've seen, and it's just like a beautiful community event. Obviously, with the name Switchback, we have a love for the outdoors, so we're really excited to hear all the stories tonight. Yeah, and then if you don't have a seat, like I think there's a couple chairs over there. Everybody can like squeeze in. Does anybody need a chair? There's some seats over there if y'all need to grab them. Okay, cool. Yeah.
Yeah, just wanted to mention that we do a run club every Tuesday. I know this is a bike group, but we got a run club every Tuesday. And if y'all go out and go to a park and you have receipts, we do 10% off drinks that day. So
Yeah, bring your park pass in.
Bring your park pass in. Yeah, love the outdoors. Thank y'all for coming.
Do you want to introduce us to introduce that? Are you going to introduce us?
Switchback, Ethan and Grace, they are amazing, such sweet hosts. Thank you, thank you. For anyone who ends up coming on the mic, if you're a storyteller or an introducer, just a friendly reminder to try to keep the mic really close, because I just stood over there and I could hardly hear. You would think that the sound travels, but there's all kinds of noises and sounds going on. So please do your best if you come up to the mic and get really close. You could get really close. Tell your story. Mic check. We're good. Okay, I'll let our introducer take it away and introduce you to the first storyteller. Give it up. Give it up for Wade.
Hi, can everyone hear me?
I can.
Okay, sweet. Hey, Joey. How are you? Sweet. My name is Wade Munger. A little awkward. I am the owner-operator of Idlewild Coffee, the best coffee shop inside a skate shop. Full disclosure, I definitely have been stalking Switchback on Instagram for weeks and saw that they have a vegan cold foam, so I will be hounding the baristas for that recipe later tonight. Anyway, show of hands, who here is super passionate about public infrastructure and whatnot after bikes? Yeah, that seems about right. Okay, sweet. I had the same kind of revelations, like, oh, I really like riding bikes. Turns out cars suck, and yeah, if you like riding bikes, it's really hard to ride in the street. Apparently our next presenter felt even more strongly about that. I'm very happy to introduce Seth, who got even more radicalized into public infrastructure and whatnot because of bikes. Take it away.
What's up, everyone? Oh, let me not kick that. Okay. How's it going? Okay. My name is Seth. I'm an urban planner. I just moved here for work. I'm so excited to be here to share with you my story. I'm going to talk about how I found community through cycling in college and just kind of what that means to me. So, kind of starting on... Oh, okay. Sorry. I'm getting used to this. Kind of starting with the credentials. This is my fleet of bikes, and kind of my philosophy on bicycles is that, yeah. See, we got a lot of stuff going on here. I do a lot. So, and that's kind of my philosophy on cycling. I think cycling is a lot of things. I'm a mountain biker. I'm a fixie fool. I'm a mountain mechanic. I'm a commuter. I'm an advocate. I play bike polo. You know, cycling is all of these things. It means any different things to different people, and I think that's what's just super cool about it. You know, you can kind of roll up to anyone on a cool bike, say, hey, you got a cool ass bike there, and sometimes you can make a friend just like that. You know, people like to throw around the idea of healing your inner child. You know, I go play an old video game, I watch an old movie, but I really don't think there's anything more childlike and more wondrous than being able to roll up to somebody and say, hey, you want to be friends? And then you're friends. Like, it's kind of crazy how that works. So I started off cycling in my journey. I started working at Texas A&M for the Sustainable Transportation Unit. And whoop, if we got any Aggies in the crowd, sorry, I know this is a UT place, but I'm an Aggie, can't hate it. So I found this job by complete fluke. I got into cycling by accident. I went to go get my brake tightened one day. The guy working in the shop was the manager instead of the regular mechanic. He looked me up and down, said, "Hey, you want a job?" I said, "Yeah, I kind of do, actually." And the rest is history. So that gave me so many wonders. That opened so many doors for me. It gave me urban planning because I had gone to A&M just to be an animator. They didn't want me to do that. They stuck me in statistics, which is boring as hell. Sorry if you're a data scientist. I don't want to be a spreadsheet warrior. So, so I got into planning because I realized, holy shit, like Wade was saying, like Valerie was saying, cars suck, bikes are awesome. Let's do more of that. So I'm not a transportation. Yeah. There's my bike right there. That's one of my retro bikes. Kind of a nice little prop. But what? It doesn't have a name right now. I'm sorry. Some of my bikes have names. The orange one is named Sunset, and the pink one is named Marty because they made it Mardi Gras themed. But some of the other ones didn't quite get the same treatment. But that this job right here, it gave me so much. It gave me urban planning, and it gave me community most of all. I became such good friends with some of my coworkers, and that kind of just started opening doors for me. I became friends with them. I started getting more into cycling. I started finding the community in my own community. I started connecting with them, and that's when I started learning about all of the group rides in College Station and actually getting into the weeds of the community. So one of the first things I started with, if you don't mind going back a couple slides to that one. So I started off with what was called Side Quest Cycling. It was just a side project for a guy. If you know a guy named Patrick Farnsworth, he runs the Bikes or Death podcast. He organizes some of the Texas Showdown series. Really cool dude, huge bike packing advocate. This was a side project he did for a summer. But this introduced me to people like him. I got to meet some research scientists. I met people who were mechanics at our local bike shop. And that's kind of when I started getting into, the friendship and the community aspect of that. And because of that, I started to realize what a pillar I was in the community. The bike shop I worked at A&M was free, which was the best part about it. So I got to work on so many people's bikes, and I realized that without me, without my shop, a lot of these people wouldn't be able to get around. And so I started thinking, how can I turn this into something? How can I take my job and my hobby and become, more involved? How do I get involved in advocacy? How do I get connected with the mechanics? How do I become a staple of the community? And that kind of led me to find, you can go on to the next slide, the bike polo group. So if you played bike polo before, it's a very niche sport, but the people who ran it were huge community leaders. I met advocates there. I met the mechanics of my local bike shop. I met people who advocated at city council. There was a guy on the Bikes and Greenway board. There were research scientists there. Those courts in that photo only got built because the mechanics on a random Thursday afternoon went to city council to tell the city of College Station, hey, you got $1.2 million sitting around. Why don't you use it to build a multi-use court and not more pickleball courts? Because why would we want more pickleball courts? Let's be honest. And so that, I started seeing, oh my gosh, you can be a huge staple of the community with this. You can be a leader. It doesn't take that much to get people on bikes, to get people interested in it. It just takes 2 or 3 people to show up to a city council meeting. It takes just talking to people in your community, your neighbors, your friends, your family, all of that, to kind of get into it. This is from a bike polo tournament that we did, in fact. And so a lot of the people in this group, they ran their own groups. They were mechanics. They were involved at the university. It was such a fun experience. And so between that and SideQuest cycling, I started kind of seeing the forest instead of the trees. I wasn't just into bikes at that point. I was into transportation planning in general. I wanted to get involved with infrastructure. I started specializing in college. I started researching bikes. I became the bike guy in every single class I was in. You couldn't walk past me without me saying, hey, you ridden a bike today? It was in every presentation. I did projects on it. It's my life now at this point. So we can go ahead and go on to, that one. So all of this finding community around College Station, learning about bikes, being a mechanic, that kind of led me to realize, okay, I can take this one step further. I can start my own community. A&M has only one cycling organization. It's the cycling team. They do super long rides, and I realized most people who I worked with every single day, they weren't going on 60-mile rides. They didn't spend thousands of dollars on their bikes like we all do. They had a crappy Walmart bike that they relied on, and if that Walmart bike didn't work, they didn't get to live their lives. So I realized, I can kind of bridge that gap. Maybe I can draw these people and I can form a community out of the people I had been working with, and kind of coalesce that into something that A&M didn't have. So me and my friend Melissa, we started Texas A&M Bike Bunch. And the whole ethos behind this was just to get people together who liked riding bikes and go out there and ride bikes. And in fact, very similar story to how Bike Story Night was was founded. So I resonate with that quite a lot. But I think it was pretty successful. We got about 10 people per ride on general. Now, a lot of the people who joined me were already interested in cycling already, so I'm not sure it was that successful, but we built the framework for it, and I ran this solo for the first half, and then Melissa ran it solo for the second half because I was way too busy with school. But this kind of showed me that, there are people out there who, if you just put a flyer on their bike, say, hey, come ride bikes with me, they'll do it. That's all I did for marketing. I just rode around campus, I put flyers on bikes, and it kind of worked from there. And it was such a good learning experience. It was so hard. I can't lie. It was so much work, but it was so worth it because I got people who hadn't ever ridden a bike in a group before. We used to ride to what was called First Friday. It was a downtown Bryan event that happened every month. We used to ride to other events. We rode to bike polo. We rode around campus, and I kind of broke that barrier between people who, when you look at them and you say, hey, I rode 10 miles today, and they look at you like you're insane. You kind of break that barrier and realize, like, hey, that's not that long. You probably rode twice that much just going to the grocery store and back today. So if you can kind of break down those walls, you can get people in the fold. You can get them to realize that bikes it's not just transportation. It's not just a hobby. It's kind of a lifestyle, if you ask me. So, yeah. So I kind of want to end this talk and just with a call to action, really. Because I was able to find community, I think you can too. I know I'm preaching to the choir here. You all are the community that I found through these endeavors. But if you have any friends or family, loved ones, coworkers who have any modicum of interest in bikes, I think I implore you to take them and go on a bike ride with them. Ride around the neighborhood, go on a mountain bike trail, do something small, and kind of show them that it doesn't take a lot. You don't have to do a 60-mile ride. You don't have to spend hours a day riding your bike. You don't have to spend thousands of dollars. All it really takes is 2 wheels and a drive, and you can just go. So I really think that, bikes are a lifestyle, and the more the merrier. So that's how I found community in cycling. Thank you, guys.
Can we give one more round of applause for Seth? That was great. We owe a lot to our urban designers and our city planners. The bike infrastructure would not be there without them. I love the sentiment about community and how bikes bring people together. Kind of a small world, full circle moment. You referenced Patrick Farnsworth earlier in his Texas Showdown Series event. That's actually where I met Maxwell, our next storyteller. He is a photographer there for the event and took some of my favorite photos anyone's ever taken of me. So I'd like to bring up Maxwell to tell his story about how, just riding a bike changed his life for the better. Give it up for Maxwell.
Move this thing up a bit. Can everybody hear me? Yeah. All right. My name is Maxwell Johnston, and thank you for that introduction, Drew. Going to get used to this microphone a little bit. Just kind of started off, I do get a little nervous around public speaking. So if I seem nervous, it is my caveman brain telling me that I'm being chased by a bear right now when I'm actually not. But yeah, my story, it does share a lot of the same themes as Seth's does today. But it does start out by introducing you to this dog in this photo right here. That's Ralph. He was my dog. I got him when I was 19. I know everybody says that their dog is the best, but he really was one of a kind. He got me through some of the toughest times of my life. I struggled with alcoholism and substance abuse when I was a kid, and that dog gave me purpose. He saved my life in more ways than one, and yeah. Uh, and he was also there through the best times. He was there when I got sober. He was there when I met my now wife, he gave me the best 9 years of my entire life. And in December of 2019, we lost him unexpectedly. And I went to the darkest time that I've been in my sobriety and was a wreck. And if you go to the next slide, I have kind of two modes. I can either go inward and go into self-pity, or I can get very obsessive and hyperfixate on something. And bicycling up to this point had mostly been about mountain biking, right? Like I would go on day trips with my buddies. I didn't really gravel bike. I didn't road bike at all. I would just mountain bike. And I had been called to bikepacking. I've been, influenced, as they say, been shown a lot of stuff. But I hadn't taken the leap to do it. And this kind of gave me an opportunity to focus on something else, whether it be a distraction or not. But I focused on the gear. I only really car camped, so I had to do a lot of research on, backpacking equipment, bikepacking gear. And then, as you all know, biking and the gear is only part of the equation. A route is also necessary to go on your first bikepacking trip. And there wasn't much to offer in Texas at this time. This was, February of 2020. So I started looking at well-established gravel race routes. And so the Castell Gravel Grind was a 100-kilometer gravel race, and I found a campsite and kind of strung together my first bikepacking route. And the first day was amazing. There's so much novelty behind it because I'd never carried that much gear on my bike. I wasn't into gravel biking at the time, and I was just doing something new, and it was awesome. Waking up to a sunrise, making coffee, being solo was just a really cool experience. And then that day two, something about just riding my bike back to the car, all those feelings that I'd been kind of distracting myself overwhelmed me, and I just broke down and had a really healing and cathartic experience. And getting back to my car, I was just jazzed to, share that with others. And if you stay on that slide, go one back. I took these with the GoPro. They're not much to write home about, but I was super proud of them at the time. I submitted them to bikepacking.com. Unsurprisingly, I did not hear back from them about wanting to post them on their page. And so if you're following along with the timeline, if you do go to the next slide now, about a month later, we all were hit with the global pandemic, and I picked up photography as my kind of pandemic hobby, and started focusing on photography skills. And after I got out of my embarrassing mirror selfie phase, if you go to the next slide, I started focusing on just bringing my camera with me everywhere, especially on bike rides, on sunrise gravel bikes, gravel rides, on neighborhood bike rides with my wife, mountain biking day rides with my buddies. I just brought my camera everywhere, just trying to hone my skills. And if you go to the next slide, I even went on some other bikepacking trips, trying to craft those skills and really build that compelling story that you see on those sites, with the North Star of building those skills to one day publish that route that I had so much fun on. And so 11 months later, I went back out on that same route. I changed it a little bit to focus more on a refined A to B, and published the Texas Hill Country Overnighter. So if you go to the next slide, this is the same sunrise that I saw 11 months earlier, but this time I actually had the skills to take a good photo and a compelling image that would make other people want to come. And so the next slide also shows a little bit more. And so going back to my car that time, I felt like, whether or not they accept it, I feel proud of what I was able to accomplish. I submitted it, and Logan at bikepacking.com almost immediately responded we would love to feature this. It made me laugh, how good images can actually expedite that process quite a bit. And so moving on to the next slide, after that route got published, I was hooked. I was trying to do this as much as possible. I created another overnighter route from Lockhart State Park to Palmetto. And as I was building that out, Patrick Farnsworth from Seth's story actually reached out. And if you go to the next page there, he wanted to do a podcast on like recording while we were going on that route. And so this connected a friendship. We connected on many things outside of bikepacking, and one of the things was he wanted to start a race, the Texas Showdown. And if you go to the next slide, this is where I felt that I could contribute in other ways than just my bike trips, right? Like I could take photos of these amazing feats of these humans, of these events that our community puts on, and it really opened up opportunities that I could never dream about. Like not only was I published on bikepacking.com, but the Radavist, even Texas Monthly, and probably one of the most rewarding pieces of this is if you go to that next slide, Patrick started and expanded that same overnighter route that we went on together for the Central Texas Showdown. So that same general store, that same campground has had to accommodate this large influx of bikepackers. The landowner has actually had to clear twice the amount of land for everybody using that route and just using all that primitive camping. And it's just been amazing what that community has done to that part of the state. And if you go to that last and final slide, the key moments of what has come from this are, not only have I heard countless of people use that route as their first time backpacking, I've seen people out on that route who are saying that that's their first time. I've even taken friends out on their first time on that route. But most importantly, it has connected me to this community, to this amazing bike-loving community that we all are a part of. And my life has changed dramatically because of that one decision to go on my first bikepacking trip. And the message of my story is, if there's one takeaway, is bad things are bound to happen in life, but if you use that to motivate you to do something that you've been wanting to do and just keep moving, some good can come out of it. And the best way to keep moving that I know is by bike. So thank you all for your time.
Give it up one more time for Maxwell. That was great. I love it. So my name's Drew Eckelberger. I'm a former storyteller, and I'm here tonight on behalf of the Adventure Cycling Association. We are donating 3 of our memberships this evening in the raffle, as well as a $50 gift card to our web store. For those of you who don't know about adventure cycling, it started back in 1976, so we are celebrating our 50th anniversary this year. It was 4,100 riders rode coast to coast from the Pacific to the Atlantic to celebrate America's bike centennial, which then birthed what is now a 57,000-mile guided and curated bicycle travel route network. So it's the world's largest bicycle travel nonprofit organization, primarily making maps, hosting guided tours, and doing advocacy work. We also have a publication that's intended to inspire and empower other people to experience the transformative nature of bicycle travel. You can hear from Maxwell's story how just going on one overnight can completely change the trajectory of your life. So we are a membership-based organization. Come and see me at the table. I'll have some more information about that. And then if your name gets called in the raffle, just come see me and I'll get you all the information that you need. Until then, I think Valerie's going to come back up here and say some more stuff. I'm sure I have many things to say, but I told her I promised I'd keep it short, and I did my best.
Excellent, Drew. Excellent. Give it up for Adventure Cycling. Hope you all take more adventures cycling, and I hope that one of you or 3 of you, I'm excited for you all to win that amazing prize, which we will be giving away after Movability. So Drew, you'll come back up here in a second. But I wanted to introduce you to Movability. I'm super excited to have them here today. David is with us. And then we're going to go into a short intermission. Are you all ready to stretch your legs a little bit, maybe? Mix and mingle real quick. But don't go far, okay? Because it's only like a short or 10-minute intermission. Come back. We're going to give away more prizes. If you're not here, you can't win the prize. Just kidding. But yes. Give it up for Movability. Thank you all for being a great audience so far. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much. So I'm David Fouts. I'm with Movability. We are a nonprofit that is dedicated to building a central Texas that is built around people and not cars. We do this through a variety of, yeah, I knew this was the right crowd. We do this through a variety of really great programming. We have discounts for employers. We have what we call mobility camps, where we take people on public transit, show them how to use it, go out and do fun stuff. We've got a micro grant program. We encourage carpooling. I'm even today promoting an app that will pay you to ride your bike or take the bus to work. So essentially that's what we're going to do. We love working with community groups, with employers and different organizations to empower them and their members to get around using alternative modes of transportation. If that sounds like something you're interested in, come talk to me at the table over there that says Movability. We've got swag and promoting things. And if you are with an organization or know an organization that might benefit from that, maybe have some transportation challenges and you want to get your people around other ways, maybe we can help you out. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
So thanks again. Stick around. We will be back in 10 minutes. Okay, starting now.
Give it up for Valerie, everybody. This is Bike Story Night number, I've lost track, 26? Oh my God. And for Jordan, he's the unsung hero in the background, dealing with all the logistics, taking no credit, in no way in the spotlight. But this wouldn't happen without him. You can watch this all on YouTube later, in case you missed it or you want to share it with your friends.
Here, thanks again to Gossamer, and thanks again to Switchback for helping us secure that. Also, if you are a business or know of a really cool business that wants to donate prizes in the future, please hit us up. I have another introducer for our third storyteller. I'm going to let the lovely Suzanne take it away and introduce our next storyteller. Thank you, Suzanne.
Okay, y'all ready for more stories? Our next storyteller, I met him a few months ago. He is a bit of a local legend. We were on a bike ride, a social ride, and he rides this really cool pink bike. I asked him the color name of his bike, and he doesn't know it. He said it's Pepto Pink, but I think it's way cooler than Pepto Pink. When he rides down the road, it's not a gravel bike, it's a cross bike. And he bunny hops up and down the curbs. He makes biking look fun. He illustrates the word fun on his bike. Anyway, give it up for Joey Machado.
Hello, good evening, everyone. It's good to see everyone here. On the way here, I was feeling like I was going to a new group ride for the first time. I didn't have any expectations, but a lot of nervous energy. So it's great to be here and know this community. So my story is I didn't get into cycling or biking really until later in life. We'll say my 30s. And it was only because of my drumming background, playing in bands. I saw a former bandmate. He was actually another drummer too in another band, but in the Greenbelt. And he stopped me, hey, what are you doing? And he turned me onto a mountain bike. Next thing I know, I got a mountain bike, rode it, met some new friends for about an hour and a half. We really just did the local Zilker Greenbelt. Amazing trail system. But I loved how I was just immersed with the sensation of the ability, how to move so quickly through the trails and see a lot of nature take place, but it was very challenging too. There are creek crossings, there's rock gardens, some tricky descents, rocky technical sections. But so I was doing that for about a year and a half. At the same time, I was also a runner. I used to participate in all the 5K, 10K running races, specifically like the Thundercloud Turkey Trot was my favorite, the Capital 10K. Well, I wanted to expand my running ambition. I was training for a marathon. Long story short, my knee didn't like the longer miles, so I couldn't really participate in that race, and it was 2 weeks away, but it didn't affect me cycling. So I happened to see a flyer in a bike shop, bicycle sport shop, and I said, I'm going to do this. I've been riding the Greenbelt a year and a half. I can race. It'll be fun. I dragged my cousin out there. I entered in the sport category. There was beginner, sport, and expert. However, much to my dismay, come the start line, we take off, and all I see is this cloud of dust, some wheels way ahead of me, disappearing. I can't see anything. But once the dust cleared, I could see that I was off the back. That is the term. Or DFL. I'm sure y'all know what that is. But I wasn't discouraged because I drove way out. This is in Lajitas, Texas, West Texas, on the border of Big Bend State Park and Mexico. So a pretty enthralling environment there. So I convinced the officials to downgrade me to beginner. Next day I did the cross-country race, and it was a whole different experience. And I met a lifelong friend during that race who happened to be from Austin. I've never met before. So cycling is joined. It joins people, right? Connections. You talk to people, you get to meet people. So that's how I started. But cycling has been more than just the experiences. I think the rides I remember with mostly are like my kids, because they grew up with bikes at a very early age. And to see them go from a push bike to pedaling by themselves to riding by my side was pretty special. So that's one thing dear to me that cycling always kind of gave back. And I always felt that cycling was like my two-wheel therapy. It's a great vessel, right, for not just exercise, but getting an escape from the daily grind after work. And but it wasn't always smooth waters. About 4 years ago, my son suffered a TBI, which is a traumatic brain injury, and our world was shattered for a while. We lived with like daily anxiety, fear of the unknown, but the bike was always the constant for me. Despite going to the hospital every day for months, my only outlet was the bicycle. So I always felt that cycling is a vessel for many. It's a source for healing, recovery. It's gotten me through a divorce and a separation. Even in between jobs, it gave me a space to think to myself. And one thing that keeps motivating me today is all the group rides. Events, yes, events are kind of the goal, and they motivate me to not really train, but just ride and build my character in some of these events. So that is my story. I'll keep it short. Payback. Thank y'all. Ride on, everybody. Ride on.
Thank you so much, Joey. Thank you again, Suzanne, for helping spread the word and get Joey out here. I know the real truth. Yay! Oh my gosh, we all need more bike friends like that. Give your friends validation. Encourage them to share a bike story and or just to bike more. I'm super excited to introduce you to our fourth and final feature storyteller. But I just want to remind you, have we gotten a wildcard submission? We have wildcard submissions over there. You don't have to tell a long epic story. It can be any bike story or journey that you want to share tonight with the audience, and as a way to encourage people to keep on riding and or reliving the magic of cycling. And no pressure. If it's not your night, you can always sign up at the next one as a feature storyteller or a wild card. But we have community plugs also in a little bit. If you have any organization or PSA that you want to share, if you have an event, if you want to just encourage people to donate blood, please come up here. You have 30 seconds to plug anything that you want. It doesn't have to be bike related. I know you have them. So our next and final storyteller, is going to take us on a journey. I love all kinds of bike stories, but I especially love bike stories that take us on journeys, especially journeys sometimes we don't realize that we're going to go on until just a few days, which honestly, I feel like this is me. Like, I'm just like itching. I'm like, I'm going to do it. So I cannot wait to hear all about this amazing journey that Diana took. She has some really cool photos. She's taking us to Yosemite. I'm so excited. Are you guys ready? Give it up for Diana. She's an amazing member of the community. She does so much. She is an incredible cyclist. I'm sure she would love to talk to you about cycling anytime too as well, or park design. Come on up, Diana.
Hello, everybody. Can you hear me? Yes. Okay. Yes, so my name is Diana, and what I do for my day job is I'm a playground designer, and this is not a bogus job from a reality show. It is actually a real job. But you can imagine that in my line of work, I design playgrounds that I often have to dig into my own sense of joy and hope and all of these positive things that I'm trying to recreate in a space. I strongly believe that your environment affects your behavior. And so when you're not feeling particularly hopeful or joyful, as I haven't for this past year because of our, political reality, it can become hard to dig into that. And so the thing that I found the best way to replenish that tank, the joy tank, is through cycling and time in nature. Naturally, the combination of the two would lead me to eventually become a bike touring, bike packing person. It's just kind of where I've ended up in the past few years, and that has led me to Yosemite. Somehow unplanned with 1 day notice. I was out in California for a playground project, and it was just before 4th of July, so just about a month ago. And as soon as I got, online and I saw that there were some campsites open, whoa, that's lucky, Lotto. Then I found out Yosemite is incredibly bike friendly. Not all of our national parks are, but I highly recommend you take your bike here. There are 12 miles of independent cycling track. On top of that, you can leave from San Francisco to Yosemite without needing a car. You can get on Amtrak from Oakland and anywhere. So I bike to Oakland, get on the Amtrak, and then there's a bus service that will pick you up at the Amtrak station that is taking you right into the park, which I didn't know until a day before I left. And part of that adventure side of bike touring, you eventually get to where a thing that you pack and that is essential is make-do attitude. That doesn't weigh anything, luckily, but make-do attitude, you can plan everything, but you have to know that whenever you're setting off, you are vulnerable, and that same vulnerability kind of forces you to rely on your own body. It's, I think, what I love about doing these kinds of adventures is you generate that trust with yourself, with your body, with gauging, can I do this? And it never fails that you meet people, because people approach you. You're not kind of tucked away in a car, so I would say that very nature of being on the bike and carrying everything you need for 4 to 5 days on your, with your two legs is somehow what drives the magnetism of meeting interesting people. So I get to Yosemite after 6 hours, and as I'm arriving, I meet, next to my campsite, there are these other cyclists. And of course, typical cyclist fashion, we're going to talk about our bikes, and we're going to talk about our gear, and then we're going to talk about our bike stories. And before long, 3 beers in, we're sitting at this campsite, and I don't know if many of you followed the World Cup that just ended. This was huge. So apparently the World Cup's also in Yosemite Valley, because it turns out I was able to stream the Mexico-England game. And by being able to stream that in the valley, you could hear at night these cheers, and so we're like, oh, you're there for England, because they sound happy. And these guys are for Mexico. And so when I get there, I then, met these people, these cyclists, and we're watching the game from this screen, and we're cheering. And after about 3 or 4 beers, they say, guess what? We actually have a permit to hike Half Dome. Do you want to join us? I didn't know what Half Dome. I mean, I know it's big, but whatever. I'm an Austin girl. What's 8,800 feet of elevation on my, first day there? And yeah, sure, okay. When are you guys leaving? Oh, we're heading out at 2 a.m. Like in 5 hours. And so I go back to my tent, and I'm barely able to get a signal to see the list of people that have died going up Half Dome. I know that I don't have gear because I borrowed my petite friend's bike. I rented everything I could. I just kind of half-assed it there. I don't have proper shoes. I don't have, but what I do have is a crippling fear of heights. That I have with me. I've carried it all my life. So, what is 400 vertical feet, with some steel cables? Whatever, let's do it. The can-do attitude. I'm here because I'm trying to replenish, right? It feels like I can't escape this political reality. And when your parks pass looks like this, and be careful, be glad that I didn't put that up there. You don't need to see this in full screen size. You really can't avoid this pervasive notion of, oh my God, politics is everywhere. This situation, even in Yosemite, I'm having to show this face and carry it around. So yeah, why not? I'm in a can-do attitude kind of moment. So we set out at 2 a.m. and I think to myself, I can always turn around. What's the big deal? I'll just turn right around. If it's 2:30 a.m. and I realize I'm getting elevation sickness, I'll just turn right around. However, once we set off, it's pitch black, it's slippery, I don't have hiking shoes, and there's a ton of bear scat all up this trail. Of course I can't turn around. I'm committed. So around 8 a.m. we get to the summit. This is the pre-summit for the, you see the Via Ferrata there. And I'm kind of thinking, why have my legs not started doing the shaky thing? I'm a person that I've gone to the other crux, and when I'm only this far from the ground, I'm shaking already. And I'm like, this is not for me. I'm not a climber. I'm a cyclist, but I'm not a climber. But it was really through this moment of meeting these wonderful people that not only shared their food, we watched the game, but I got to hear their stories. And you'll see a picture, they're kind of out of order, but you'll see eventually. The people that I was sitting next to, these cyclists, started to tell me about, they're from Los Angeles, Angie and Martin. They came here from Querétaro when they were young. They'd just been married, and they were in their 20s. And this is part of the people that, loaned me a headlamp, encouraged me, gave me their pass, let me go with them, shared their food. And so it's this idea of your environment changes your behavior, but it was coming right back at me, my own thoughts of, okay, I'm terrified to get up this thing. I don't know what I'm doing up here. But when I listen to them and their story of, we have to live in LA, we have to deal with ice rates. This is our daily life. Martina is a landscaper. Angie, who you see there, she's kind of the shorter one over here. She's a housekeeper. But the fact that a housekeeper and a landscaper have nicer bikes than I've ever seen, and that they love the national parks, they love the outdoors, they're spending their time kind of going to as many national parks as they can, but they're doing all this amidst this fear. How could I possibly not be in the right environment to try to climb up these crazy cables and not have my legs shake? Somehow I made it to the summit, and if you notice this picture, look at the angle. This is taken from me sitting down, because yes, I got up, but was I able to peek out? No. Was I able to even stand up? Also no. So, this is our celebratory, I told them, take all the pictures from the edge for me, please, because I had to lie down on the ground to get the gumption to come back down. But it left me with this thought of this notion of fear being kind of what can propel you forward. And being in this environment with the right people in the right situation, my legs didn't shake at all. And I somehow still don't have an explanation for it other than when I came here, I was kind of upset and in this moment of, I don't feel like I should be celebrating America's 250th. What are we celebrating? And when I left, this to show you the terrible shoes I had. This is the worst kind of shoe to try to climb up a slippery granite, rock face. And I did climb it with about an inch from my face. I just couldn't look sideways. But not having the right gear, not having the perfect plan, not having the right anything kind of didn't matter in the end. When I was in the right environment with the right people, we're still in touch. In fact, I was really nervous about telling their story and doing justice to what they're doing and the fact that these are successful people that are proud of their journey and they're proud of the sacrifices they've made to make a good life for themselves. What could be more patriotic than that? So I left Yosemite with my tank full, really feeling like, and I want to get to the final slide, that slide. So I don't know if you're familiar with this artist, but if you are in Los Angeles, I encourage you to go see this in the permanent collection of the Los Angeles Narrative Museum. This is called the New American Gothic. and this is a housekeeper, and this is a landscaper. I just so happen to have met the real-life version of the New American Gothic, but the cyclist version, and that is what propelled me forward, and that is what filled my tank. There they are. So to Angie and to Martine.
Give it up for Diana. That was such a good story. Wow, so inspiring. Okay, my name's Rachel, and I was asked to segue to our wild card story. And tonight it's a gentleman named Matt. So Matt is going to talk about his story of catching a bike thief, which, funny enough, I told a story of my own, catching my own bike thief a few months ago. So come on up, Matt. Give it up for Matt.
Hello. This actually isn't entirely my story, but I just feel like people should know about this, that it happened. A couple of months ago, working with somebody, he came into the office and he came in and he just said, my bike is gone, but I've got this note here that says, your bike was almost stolen. It's in my office at this location. And he was like, do you know where this is? And we went down one floor, went through a couple of doors. He thought he knew where it was, but he didn't try to open the door at first. He thought it was locked, and I just pulled it open and it was open. And we walked in, and there was a couple of people in there, and it turned out that about an hour or two earlier, this person working in that office heard this grinding noise, this really loud grinding noise. And he had had his bike stolen multiple times, unfortunately, so he was very suspicious of hearing that noise right outside of the office. So he walked down, and there was a guy there just grinding away at a lock. And he confronted him and said, hey, what are you doing? The guy claimed that it was his bike, that he just lost the key, so he was just trying to get the lock off. And the guy did not believe that for a second, so he immediately called the cops. The cops came, ended up arresting the person. They had to take the bike for evidence, at least at first. So great story, because my friend got his bike back, guy got arrested, and someone, Good Samaritan, saved it for him. So that's the story.
What an amazing story of justice, right? Do you guys want to hear my bike theft story? Is there time? Okay. So, how do I even start this? Once upon a time, I was a 17-year-old, 19-year-old girl, I guess I was 19, at my first job at a bike shop. It was my very first job, and my sister's boyfriend had helped me get the job. I was the barista at the bike shop. And my first paycheck, I bought myself a bike from the bike shop, and I got a great discount. I got like 50% off because it was my sister's boyfriend who was my manager. He's like my brother, okay? So I got a really nice road bike at 19, and I learned to ride it, and I brought it with me to Texas when I moved here 7 years ago, and it held a great deal of meaning to me. It's part of my coming of age story of independence on my road bike. I loved it. And then a couple years ago, I decided to try living without a car because my lease was up and the economy is, up and down. And I was like, I live in Central Austin. I work from home right now. This is the best time to try living without a car. So I had a bike, and I got around my bike for a year and a half. And while it's an amazing way to work out and stay in shape and be proud of yourself, it also has its challenges because you're constantly getting on and off the bike and you're carrying a lot of stuff, and it kind of becomes an ordeal to leave the house. You have to plan 5 outfits and sunblock and water and all that to survive. But I got into a habit of stopping at my convenience store a few times a week, saying hi to my friend at the convenience store, and just ended up leaving my bike out there because, it's 5 minutes inside. It's who's going to take my bike? It's in public. It's on a main road. I'm going to be in and out. I can see it. So I go into the convenience store one day in October of 2025. It hasn't even been a year yet. But I got stuck behind a line of people who wanted to have a conversation, and then a UPS delivery driver came in and put a big box in front of the door, and suddenly I can't see where my bike is, and it's taking longer than 3 minutes, and I'm like, this doesn't feel right. I feel odd about this. And sure enough, I go outside and my bike is gone. And the UPS driver is still out there with his truck, and I'm like, sir, you didn't see a bike, did you? Did you see a thief? Anybody? Sir? Nah, ma'am. You know, just like, does not care. Meanwhile, my whole life is like, this is an emergency in my world. In Rachel's world, this is an emergency. No one else cares. That's another thing I learned. People don't really care that much when you lose your bike, except for the cycling community. That's right, because you guys understand. Oh, okay, so my bike is gone. I hop in a friend's car, we're driving around, I'm posting online, I immediately go to Reddit, I go to the R. Austin Reddit site, I post stolen bike, and I'm dramatic, I'm like, the location, the time, where this, whatever. And I get a message on Reddit from someone saying, I think I saw your bike. This isn't an hour of my bike being stolen. This gentleman sent me a photo of a man on my bike on Congress Avenue between Congress and Oldtorf, a huge intersection. There's a man, and I'm like, that's my bike. It's been an hour, and that's my bike. Okay, so the adrenaline's pumping. What I found out was that I am very determined in these situations, and if I have the will, I have the way. And so I spent a lot of time printing flyers, and for about a week I posted flyers all over that 1 mile radius. Every single telephone pole had one of my flyers. I was like, I'm not gonna let these guys forget about me, because I know they're around. They're hanging out. Okay, so then I get a call. I got many calls. Many people, actually, turns out, people are encouraged me on my humanity, that people want to help me. There's some people that don't want to help, so you have to be wary of scammers, but there were people who really were willing to help me, cyclists and people who saw the flyers. And about a week later, I got a text, and someone took some photos and sent them to my phone. And it looked like my bike, but it wasn't quite my bike. The handlebars weren't right. The pedals looked the same, but the frame was different color. But I knew it was my bike. And then, this is the other crazy thing. People start to think I'm crazy because I wouldn't give it up. And everyone's like, you're getting scammed, Rachel. Sorry, I hate to break it to you. This guy just wants to take your money. You're getting scammed. But I felt it in my gut that this was true, and that was really the challenging part. My bike was missing, but I was up against people, I felt, that wanted to discourage me from looking for my bike because they thought it was a lost cause. But we all care about different things, don't we? Anyway, I convinced this gentleman to exchange the bike for $50, and sure enough, I scrape off this green latex paint, and there's my beautiful bike underneath. That needs a lot of love because they also destroyed it and took parts. So I spent the next 3 months rebuilding it at Yellow Bike Project. Let's go! They have a great program. So you guys, that's my story. That you can let a bike go. It's only a few $100. I do believe in safety first, and know when to let things go. But you may be able to find a bike if it gets stolen because of the community here. Okay, that's it.
Okay, let's just get the community prog started. I'm so excited. I love this part of the event. Break out your phones, write some notes down, because you're going to hear about amazing opportunities in your community and ways to make a change, have fun, meet people.
All right, so apparently I get the first one. Do y'all like bike infrastructure? And this is a long shot, but do you like democracy? Would you like to tell your elected officials how to make your bike infrastructure better? I have got a wonderful news for you. I'm in grad school, and so I will no longer be on the Bicycle Advisory Council starting next session. And so we are looking for more people to apply to be on the City of Austin's Bicycle Advisory Council. There's an application. It is not long, it is not hard, but it is on Google Forms. I have a QR code in my back pocket right here. My lovely partner, who is color coordinated and over there with her cell phone, also has the same QR code. Come. Anyone here is legitimately qualified, as long as you live in the city of Austin, to be on this board. We get to advise the city of Austin, like the actual elected officials and the city staff, on how to make bicycle infrastructure better for everyone. If you want an all ages and all abilities network of usable bicycle lanes, off-street bike paths, and other improvements for both, people who ride bikes, people who want to ride bikes, and even, people who walk, please come apply, be on this council. It is fun. It is a total of like 1 meeting per month. It lasts about 2 hours. It's on a Tuesday night. If your Tuesday nights are free, and I imagine some of y'all's are, please come, scan a QR code, get the link, fill out the form at your convenience, and make our bicycle infrastructure better.
Hi, so I know this is a bike community. I lead a bike ride through Plant Powered Athlete, and we are having a bike ride on August 22nd, which is a Saturday, at 10 a.m., and it's a tour to ice cream. So we're going to go to 3 different ice cream spots. It's very beginner friendly, so we have people who have only, ridden a bike for like 4 minutes, and they come to our event because it's a no drop ride. We have a lot of stops, and because it's Plant Powered Athlete, all the places that we go to happen to be plant-based ice creams. So, if you are an ice cream person, if you're lactose intolerant, it's ice cream. If you want an excuse to eat ice cream before, noon, this is a great ride to come out. It's a fun Saturday. It's a very social ride. We have lunch afterwards. And, if you don't eat ice cream at all 3 stops, that's okay. I usually don't. If you want to challenge yourself, you can. Maybe bring a vomit bag, but it's just a fun ride. And so we are on Facebook, Instagram, Eventbrite. You can also talk to me about it afterwards. And it's just a great fun ride for ice cream and bike riding. So thank you.
Hi, my name is Magda Hernandez, and I am with Peace community nonprofit here in Austin, Texas, started by a teacher in schools wanting to get kids outdoors and outside of the 4 walls that they are mainly in. And our mission is to have kids have joyful connections with the outside world or with the natural world. And so we're in 26 schools all over Austin. But I want to invite everyone here to visit our farm where our program started 15 years ago. We're celebrating our 15th anniversary in November. Come to the farm first Saturdays of the month starting in September. We do work, but if I'm there, I usually have people take home any produce that's in abundance. Shout out to Keep Austin Fed that are feeding, making food accessible to our neighbors and community members, because we also harvest food there and hand it over to Keep Austin Fed. So there's an abundance there. Mainly herbs right now because it is summertime. But come out, visit with us, and see that we're in your community. Peace. So it stands for Partners for Education, Agriculture, and Sustainability. Yeah.
Hello again. So also August 22nd and August 29th at the 1972 Women's Sports Pub, which is on Guadalupe near the University of Texas. I will be there volunteering to register people to vote along with a few other people. So if you need to vote, if you need to change your address for voting, if you know somebody who needs to do anything voting related, please come by the pub, get some alcohol or non-alcoholic beverages. Again, August 22nd or August 29th. If you want to become a volunteer to register other people to vote, if you have any questions about that, please also come and find me. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name's Alyssa. I am a local market organizer here in Austin. And September 13th, I'm starting a brand new farmers market. It's gonna be located on the east side of Austin. Yes, very excited. It's gonna be at a location called Camp East. If you've never been over there, it's this beautiful outdoor venue. There's 3 businesses that are converted from old East Austin houses: San Mateo Pizza, Slowpoke Tattoo, and Cork and Screw Wine Shop. So we're going to have up to 20 different local farmers, fresh produce, things like that. And it's going to be a great time. Like I said, September 13th from 11 to 4. If you want to follow me on Instagram, Vintage Vines, it'll keep you updated on other local markets that I do around town, like vintage markets. Thank you.
I just have a real short one. I want to tell you about something I saw on YouTube recently. I know many of y'all have heard of or at least seen the ghost bikes around town, those white painted bicycles that memorialize a cyclist who died while riding their bike. Well, on YouTube, just a couple days ago, there was a short film posted that was shot by a UT student named Joseph Henry Gonzalez for the Daily Texan. And they interview several of the volunteer organizers of the Ghost Bike Project. They talk about the Ghost Bike Project. They feature several of the bikes, family members of one of the deceased cyclists. It was incredibly moving. So if you have, 2-3 minutes, I think it's really only 3.5 minutes long, I urge you to hop on YouTube, just search for Austin Ghost Bike Project and Daily Texan. You will find this video. I feel like a lot of their work really flies under the radar. They do incredible things all over town, and I just want to call attention to the great work that they're doing. And if they can get more volunteers, if just more awareness, please watch the video, share it. Thank you. Appreciate y'all.
Just want to introduce myself. Colin McMorrow, Austin Ridge Riders Mountain Bike Club. And so we've been doing things for a really long time before I was even involved. And the interesting thing is that, like, City of Austin Parks and Rec Department has not always been about what we are doing. Like, sometimes people are cutting trails in the woods, sometimes they're riding trails in the woods, and they're enjoying themselves. And Parks and Rec is just like, they got their blinders on, right? They're not charting all those trails. But the interesting thing is that, like, there's a bond election coming up. And so we have a narrow opportunity to say we have to invest in all these parks that have not been invested in before. And Kirk Watson and the mayor, that I actually, I respect the idea of, like, hey, don't spend money you don't have. Like, I get it. Like, fiscally responsible, I get it. But we still need to have a bond to cover the basics, right? To cover all the parks that have been in the planning for many years, right? So Walter E. Long, Bolm District Park, Trevino, last decade, right, we've all turned out for all these meetings. We've all given lots of input about what kind of trails should be there. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, it's in vision plans, but is it going to get funded, or is the vision plan just going to sit on a shelf, right? And so this November, I hope that everybody can sort of, like, talk to your friends and sort of, like, emphasize why we need to invest in this. Thank you.
There are a few other volunteers here tonight, and I was hoping one of y'all would do this instead, but I wanted to let y'all know about Austin Bicycle Meals. We ride... Thank you, Jason. We ride every Saturday, so tomorrow, as well as every other Wednesday, including this upcoming Wednesday. Saturdays, we start making sandwiches at 12:30 at the Life in the City Church on South Congress and ride at 2. And Wednesdays, we meet same place, Life in the City Church on South Congress, and ride at 5:30. We've been partnering with a few organizations around Austin to provide meals. We've served about 36,000 meals over the last 4 years. And our meal provider on Wednesdays is about to go on tour with her band. So if you work with a restaurant or any other organization that can provide about 150 meals twice a month on Wednesdays, please message us on Instagram at Austin Bicycle Meals. Thank you.
Got this. Okay. I wanted to do the last community plug and closing announcements. I wanted to shout out Jedi Cycling. They're a local small business. They gave me these wheels that are back behind the stage. I wanted to mention again, they're so cute. I'm so excited to have them at our event. And I want to encourage you, I'm sure all of you know, to keep supporting small businesses like this one and like a lot of the sponsors that we have, Eastside Pedal Pushers. Thanks again to Bob's Pickle Pops. I swallowed wrong and I'm having a little throat issue, but I wanted to just say thank you once again to Jedi Lights and all of our sponsors. James, would you pull up all the sponsors photo if it's up there? Gossamer, thank you so much to Gossamer and Movability, our tabling partners, and Adventure Cycling for all of the prizes that they provided. Seth Pedal Pushers, Crux, sister to Switchback, thank you, thank you. Thank you also to Jordan in the back again. I know someone shouted you out earlier, but Jordan is co-producer, helps really keep the lube on this machine going. I can't thank you enough. Also, I wanted to get a photo of all the volunteers, and I can't remember earlier. I feel like not all of them were here. Some were missing. We had like 3 people up here. But are all the storytellers still here? Featured storytellers? 1, 2. Diana? Did Diana peace out? Okay, there you are. Okay, come up, and I want to take a photo with you, please. All of the storytellers, if you don't mind, come take a photo on the stage for us, and we will give you a big round of applause. Thank you. You guys have been such a great audience. This is our first time hosting here, and I have a feeling we'll be hosting many more times. It is so fun to be here. This is a great space. I hope to see you all again. Please follow us on all of the socials. Thank you, Joy, if you don't mind holding that. On all of the socials, we'll be uploading all of the stories on our YouTube. Please follow and stay connected. Thank you again to Switchback so much for having us. Yeah, thank you guys. We can't do it without you and all of your support. Honestly, you really make it happen. Thank you. Have a good night, everyone. Get home safely. We'll be packing up for a little bit. Feel free to mix and mingle, I think, until Switchback kicks us out. Ride safe, everyone. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Ethan.